So in a previous video, we talked about discovering PowerShell commands using the get command and the get module. Now, once I've discovered the command, how do I discover what I can do with it? Well, we have another commandlet to give us that, and that's called Get-Help. Now, when you do your initial install of your operating system, it has very, very minimal help. You need to download the rest of the help files in order to make it useful. You'll also want to do that probably on a fairly regular basis, because when Microsoft makes changes, they tend to post things out to their help files, and then they anticipate that you are going to download those in order to get the latest help information. But that's really easy to use. Our commandlet to do that is just update-help, and it will automatically update our help system for us. So you see a little progress indicator, and it's doing this module by module. And you can see the modules flying by here as it downloads all of our different help files. Now, at some point, I don't know if I'm going to have this happen or not, but at some point you may have an error show up saying that some modules were not able to be updated. Here we go. Failed to update help for the module, config defender, Windows update provider, blah, blah, blah. Failed to update the help modules for platform identifier. Unable to connect to help content. All right, don't worry about that, because it did this module by module. All of your other help files are updated just fine. These means it couldn't update for those particular modules for whatever reason. And if that doesn't happen to be a module that you're working at the moment, who cares? Hopefully you'll be able to catch it the next time you do the update help. And there could be a myriad of reasons why they're not available. The point is, just don't worry about that at the moment. All right, so now we've used our, we've updated our help files. So now let's talk about how we can actually use them. So I'm going to go back to get command, and we're going to find a command here. We're going to get command for the module server manager. And here we're going to see all of our commandlets. So we have an install Windows feature, an uninstall Windows feature, add Windows feature, remove. Notice these are aliases, by the way, add and remove Windows feature. If I want to see what they are, what they're for, I can do a get alias for add Windows feature. And there's the alias, the name. Doesn't really give me a whole lot of information on that other than just telling me that it's there. Let's do a get alias, pipe that to more. And it could be that we just haven't installed the module at this point. That's okay. We'll worry about that later. So we have the add Windows feature. So I want to do a get help for add Windows feature. And this is going to give me my help information. And right off, we're going to have to pipe that to more. Okay. So all the help files are broken down basically the same way. So the first one is the name. Now, this actually just told us something interesting. I did a get help for add Windows feature. It gave me the name of install Windows feature. So now I know what add Windows feature is an alias for. The synopsis is just a 1 or 2 line, hey, this is what it does. It installs one or more roles, role services, or features into a local or specified remote server that is running Windows Server 2012 R2 or later. You can fill in the blank there. Let's skip the syntax thing. We're going to come back to that in a second, because that's really key. So the description here gives us a more detailed description of what it does. So the synopsis is just the 1 or 2 line. The description tells you more, gives you more information. So the install Windows commandlet, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to read the whole thing. This commandlet is equivalent to and replaces the add Windows feature commandlet, which is why that is now an alias that was used to install server roles. Okay. What we really dive into to discover how to use it is this right here, this block on the syntax. So we've got our synopsis, we've got our description, we decide, all right, this is what I want. This is a commandlet, it looks like it'll do what I want. Now, how do I use it? And that's where this comes up. So, first thing I want you to see, we have 3 distinct blocks here. Well, that's because you can run this cmdlet with 3 different sets of parameters, which means there are parameters included in this set that can't be used with parameters that are included in this set, and then ones in this set that can't be used here. So it doesn't really matter, other than to just be aware if I see something here and something here, I can't put the 2 of them together. I need to make sure that all of the options I want to use are in the same place. All right, so the install Windows feature, I'd start out by typing this. Now you see here -name. So dash means this is a parameter. If it's in square brackets, that means that it is optional. So I don't have to do install Windows feature -name and then type the feature. And this is not in square brackets, so I have to give it a feature to install, otherwise it won't work. I don't have to do the -name. I can, but I don't have to. What that means is this is what we refer to as a positional parameter. So if I do install Windows feature -name ADDS, which is not the official name for it, or if I do install Windows feature ADDS, these are functionally equivalent because ADDS, or looking up here, the feature is a positional parameter. So if there's not a name for the parameter, it will assume that that first parameter is going to be the feature. Now, this one right here, -computer name. It's all in square brackets, which means I don't have to specify a computer name. If I do, then I have to use the -computer name. It's not a positional parameter. So I have to type -computer name, and then I have to type a string value. And that string value obviously is going to be the computer name. And if I'm doing this on a remote computer, then I'm going to need the credential. So I have the credential parameter. I have a parameter right here that says include all subfeatures. Now notice with computer name, I had to give it a string to define the computer name. With credential, I had to enter a string for the credential. But with include all subfeatures, I don't have to add anything else. That's because subfeature is a toggle option. It's either I include all of them or I don't. Same thing with include management tools. If I don't do include management tools, then it won't include the management tools. If I don't do include subfeatures, then it will just do that main feature and not all the subfeatures beneath it. And then I can set the log path, set it to restart, tell it what source I want to use. Do the -confirm, which means don't prompt me, just do it. And almost all of them have this option, which is -what if. And if you add what if to the command, what happens is it doesn't actually execute it. What it does is it says this is what would happen if you ran this commandlet. Okay. Notice, by the way, as you look down at these, this one has a -configuration file path. This one has a -vhd. So these are different parameter sets. This will install onto a server. This will install using a set configuration file. This will install to a VHD. So when you're using the command, just make sure that all the parameters you're using are from the same syntax block. Okay, that gives us a fair amount to look at. Whoops. I did install Windows feature and hit enter without thinking about it. And because I didn't set a positional parameter, it says, yeah, you can't do that. And so it's prompting me for a positional parameter. I'm going to use Control-C to get out. Now, that is the basic help. That is not the full help. So you can see here we have different options. We can do Get-Help, install Windows features -examples, -detailed, -full. Let's take a look at -detailed. This is going to give me a wrong command. Get-Help, install -Windows feature dash detailed. Now I also want you to notice that this is color coding. So my commandlet is in yellow. My values are in, I suppose you could call that white. And then in a slightly darker gray are my parameters. So one of the things with the PowerShell environment is as you type commands, it's going to parse those commands and it'll color code things for you. So I'm going to go ahead and filter this or pipe this to more because there's going to be a fair amount here. So the name, the synopsis, the syntax, the description, all of that is the same. Now, here's the more detailed. For every parameter, it's going to tell you all about that parameter. So for the computer name parameter, this specifies all of this information about the parameter. And then it will go parameter by parameter through every single one of them in alphabetical order until it gets to the end of them. And then, because we did detailed, it's also going to give us a series of examples. Now, if you see a parameter, but you want to dive into it a little bit more and make sure that it's going to give you what you want, that this parameter or computer name does what you think it will do, then you can use the /detailed. If you just want to use or look at examples, and I find this very, very helpful, Get-Help, install Windows feature, give me just the examples. I'll just scroll up. I won't bother piping that one. So this is going to give me multiple examples of how I can use this commandlet. So let's come up here to number 1. So example 1, we're going to install Alias, including all role services and applicable management tools on the specified computer. So this would be the command: install Windows feature, name web server, include all subfeatures, include management tools, set the computer name to server 1, set the credentials, and it sets the credentials name. And then it gives a little description right here. This is what it's going to do. This is going to install the web server, IIS, including all role services and management tools on a computer named server 1 by using the credentials of a user account named Contasa.com/pattyfull. And then it'll give a next example. And for a lot of these commandlets, you're going to find multiple different examples. And the examples tend to get a little more complicated. So that was a fairly straightforward one. Here we're using one from a different parameter set where we're using the configuration file path. This command installs the roles, role services, and features that are specified in this particular configuration file. Named, and it gives a location, and then it tells us how we created that. We created that by doing the export configuration settings on a confirm installation sections page in the server manager. So lots of different examples of how you can use these commands. So we'll use get command, get module to discover the commands that are available. We'll use get help to explore how to use those particular commands. So by putting these three together, we should be able to discover just about anything we want to do in PowerShell, even if we don't have Google.